Hi everybody, Michelle here. I am coming to you today. I'm in a little bit more pain today. It's actually a lot more pain today. I did a lot of walking yesterday. I walked to work and home, to the mall, then to the grocery store, back to the grocery store and home again. So I actually did quite a bit of walking yesterday and definitely slept like a baby. I woke up several times during the night because the rain was so loud, but slept much better than normal nonetheless. So today I actually wanted to talk a little bit about um, dietary needs that go along with fibromyalgia. And I want to start off by saying that I am not an expert in fibromyalgia. I'm not a doctor, but I am someone who's been doing a lot of learning over the past 10 years or so, especially the greatest bit of learning since 2015 when I found out that I had it for sure. So dietary needs for people with fibromyalgia are very, very different. I have done a couple dietary changes in the past, and they can be extremely difficult. Like I've done the gluten-free and dairy-free diets and eating all organic foods, which is fantastic. I felt pretty great when I did it. Not pain-free by any means. There's no way I was going to be pain-free, I don't think. But felt more energetic, I guess. That's a pretty good way to say it. I felt maybe 25, and honestly, it felt great. But there is no way that when you have kids at home and you have any kind of bills, you can actually eat that way. It is far too expensive for people to actually be able to sustain that type of a diet on the normal man's income. There's just no way. The food was just alone for me, just for me. And it was an extra few $100s per month just to have those items in the house for me. That was not to include the rest of the family. And I was eating a lot less than normal because I was trying to cut back on the amount of money that I was spending on those particular items, which were gluten-free, dairy-free, organic. And so it's an extremely expensive way to eat, which is really sad because our government should be United States and Canadian, should be regulating how much people should have to spend on this. I have a dear, dear friend who died from diabetes. He had diabetes. And the one thing that his doctor told him repeatedly was that he had to eat healthier, and he couldn't afford to eat healthier. So what do? He couldn't afford to eat healthy. It was too expensive for him. So the dietary issues, I am now eating dairy-free because just recently, and I told you this is going to be very, very open and very, very honest about what we go through. Very recently, I developed an infection in my face due to a poorly done root canal in Seattle, Washington. And I've posted about this dentist who rushed me out the door, made me sign a consent that said if there's anything wrong, so be it. And I think he knew that he broke the tooth. He actually broke the root and didn't finish the root canal. So sent me out the door really, really super fast, charged me a couple grand, and that was it. 6 years later, I woke up in the morning, couldn't even hardly breathe. The pain was so bad. I had developed an abscess for that 6 years. And my face started to swell. I was at the point of not being able to sleep but a couple hours a night. I was taking round the clock Tylenol and ibuprofen just to keep the pain at bay. I mean, barely at bay, enough to be able to sleep for 2 hours at a time. And I was still having to work as well. So I was not feeling very good. I went on the first round of clindamycin, which is a really, really strong antibiotic. Well, actually, no, I take that back. They put me first on penicillin and then erythromycin and then 2 rounds of clindamycin because it still was not dealt with. And the clindamycin, of course, made me pretty sick. I have had kind of an allergic reaction to it in the past, but they didn't know what else to do. So I had to take clindamycin. So anyways, after the second round, I couldn't seem to keep any food in at all. The food just would not stay in my body. When I ate, I was immediately sick in the bathroom. And I'll be honest, it was coming from both directions. This has been going on for a couple months because I got sick in the beginning of March was when I actually developed that abscess, and that took a month to actually heal. So I was sick no matter what I ate. It seemed like I just got sick, and I was actually to the point where they were testing me to find out if I had some sort of parasite, a tapeworm, whatever, because I couldn't keep food in. The first initial test that they did came back negative. There was nothing there. And here in Halifax, I said, okay, so what's the next step? They said, well, it could be up to a year before we can get you in to see anybody, depending upon the severity. If the doctor believes that they need to see you sooner, they might be able to get you in sooner to a specialist. And I said, it's not worth it. I mean, that's ridiculous. So I'm just not even going to bother. I just took dairy out of my diet. I actually went down to eating nothing but brown rice with just a little bit of margarine on it and a little bit of soy because I need the salt. I was still getting sick. Couldn't figure out why. Came to find out that actually a lot of margarines here have dairy in them. There's not... You actually have to find specific margarines that don't have any dairy. So anyway, long story short, I have taken all the dairy out of my diet, and I don't seem to get sick like I did. Actually, not even close to like I did. I've gone to eating just the diet cheese and almond milk, which I don't like. I'm not a fan of almond milk. I really prefer rice milk, but I think rice milk has a little bit more calories. And here in Halifax, rice milk is like double the price that it was in Washington, where we're from. Almond milk is actually quite a bit cheaper, so that's the one that I'm choosing to use at this point. At least it's something that I can have, and it's an alternative. I'm trying very hard to come up with fun recipes that the entire family can eat because, of course, the rest of the family still wants to have cheese, except my husband, bless his awesome, wonderful heart. He has said that he'd actually like to do quite a bit of the dairy-free with me and see how he feels, which is great. I think it's awesome for him as well. But a lot of people who have fibromyalgia tend to choose the gluten-free, dairy-free, those anti-inflammatory diets because they're actually supposed to be very, very good for you and good for your tummy. It's really, really important to do anything that you possibly can when you have fibro. And even though it seems like it sucks, I'll be honest, I feel so much better now that I've just taken dairy out of my diet. That little tiny step honestly has made a big difference. And again, I'm not pain-free. I have excruciating pain all the time. If you heard the video yesterday, I have a symphony of noises that comes out during the day. Ooh, ah, ooh. It feels like someone is stabbing me in the back every time I move to take a walk, or I can't carry a backpack very easily. I can't walk more than a certain, number of steps. It's never going to stop, but I feel better, and I like that I feel better. I can get a great deal of calcium and the vitamins that I need from the vegetables I eat. I choose to eat pretty healthy as it is. And when I talk to you about the fibro, I don't mention usually that I also have the Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which means my thyroid doesn't work anymore. It started out just as hypothyroidism. They discovered that one night I had a grand mal seizure. That week I had 3 seizures in 1 week. And I didn't even realize I was having them. The first one I thought I passed out. Second one, I was at work and I didn't understand why I wrote weird things on the paper. And I was talking to an insurance company on the phone and she said, "Are you there? Are you there?" I thought, they're going to think I'm drunk. I don't know what just happened. And then that Friday at home playing a game with everyone, I just remember the world went sideways and I woke up in the ambulance at the hospital. I'd had a grand mal seizure. While I was there, they discovered that I had hypothyroid, which is the one where your thyroid functions at a lower level, and so you don't process things very well. And I would like to talk a bit more about that because thyroidism, hypothyroid, Hashimoto's, they are extremely difficult to live with as well. And so I think that making these small changes in our diets actually is very, very beneficial, especially when you have more than one thing that you're having to deal with. I have chosen to eat well for many, many years, and I think that if I just gave in to eating whatever it is that I want, chocolate cookies all the time and potato chips and whatever it is that I want, I would feel a whole lot worse. I'd probably be about 350 pounds and wouldn't be able to walk, maybe be in a wheelchair or a walker. But I choose to do this, and I choose to do it for myself because I know the consequences of not doing that. And I think that other people need to hear that. I really, really do believe that other people out there need to hear it. It's okay to be okay with our bodies, and it's okay. I believe that I'm, pretty, and I believe that I'm okay looking. I don't like myself, my body, my figure as it is right now. It's kind of difficult because I went from a size 6 to a size 16 after developing Hashimoto's, and that can be a little bit difficult. I used to be active. I used to be this little tiny petite thing, and I am not that any longer. And I think it would be a lot worse had I not made the choices to eat healthier, keep those lots and lots of whole grains, the veggies, and cutting out the dairy, I think, is going to be a huge, huge boon for my body. And I think that that's something that those out there with fibro might benefit from. And I know it sucks. I love cheese more than anybody. I could just sit and eat blue cheese and gorgonzola, and I love it. It's just in my blood. I have cheese in my blood. I really do. I bleed Velveeta, I swear. But you got to make these choices if we want to feel better. And I think hopefully, if someone sees this, hopefully they can decide to do that for themselves. Maybe feel a little bit better. For me, it's been about a week. And every now and again, I would accidentally eat something that had dairy in it, and felt kind of like I had to start over, but I wasn't starting over. It would just kind of make me sick. But now I feel so much better, honestly, and I think you can too. You can too. Tomorrow I'd like to come in and talk to you a little bit about, I think we'll talk about hair loss, because that's a huge one for women. And I think it's a good one to go to. I think that we need to feel good about ourselves, and in our society it can be extremely difficult, especially when you're facing all this stuff and you don't know what's going on, and it just kind of blows sometimes because we don't look the way we used to, and we don't feel the way we used to. We just want someone to tell us that we're beautiful. I mean, you are beautiful. You are. Okay. All right, friends. Love and light, blessings upon you, and I can't wait to talk to you again tomorrow.